I'm a U.S. Army retired colonel. I spent 30 years in the Army. I was airborne, special forces. I fought in Europe, Hanoi, and Vietnam. I mean, not Hanoi, but Korea and Vietnam. My oldest son was also on active duty. He was in the Air Force and was shot down over North Vietnam. And remains missing in action, although the government has declared him dead. We have no body, no evidence of his death. I first became familiar with President Senator from Arizona, John McCain. I hate to say from Arizona because I'm a native of Arizona. I was born and raised there and still live there. But from the very beginning, in talking to the returned POWs, in the very beginning we began to hear some very bad things about John McCain and his activities while he was in the POW camp. As an example, and I'll quote this because it can be checked out, he personally wrote an article in the magazine that wherein he stated that during the time he was in prison, in fact I think it's 5 or 7 days after he was captured, he asked Vietnamese to take him to the hospital, Vietnamese hospital. And in so doing, he promised them he would give them classified military information. They did, he did. They took him to the hospital, questioned him, and he gave highly classified information. The most important of which was he gave the package routes, which were the routes to bomb North Vietnam. He told in detail the altitude they were flying, the direction, if they made a turn, and how to get into Vietnam. So he also gave them where the targets were of their primary interest, whether it was a railroad, whether it was a bridge, whether it was an ammunition or fuel dump or whatever it was. He gave them what primary targets the United States was interested in. After he gave them that information, then the Vietnamese naturally moved their anti-aircraft defenses into those areas and built them up and strengthened them. They also moved rocket aircraft weapons into the package routes of where the airplanes were flying in or egressing. The result of this, according to the information that came out later on in intelligence, was that the Vietnamese started knocking down our aircraft in greater amounts than they had before. In fact, there was an estimate that we started losing 60% more aircraft and more men than we had previously. This went on for about a month, and it got so bad that they finally called off the bombing of North Vietnam because of the information McCain had given to them.